Hello everybody, welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have the map Crystalline Plains with our combatants being rAndy playing Armada in the blue today, and their opponent InDaClub playing Armada as well in red. A big shift over to Armada being the main faction that most players go for these days. Especially since the new changes, Armada's just gotten so much stronger. It'd be a fool's choice to not follow through with that. Now, we have seen this map before on the channel, but for those of you that are new here, just a very quick recap. Both start positions here. Players can technically spawn anywhere behind this line for the bottom point, should we say, and like top there. However, the most obvious place is where both players have chosen to, and that is here. That is because of this 5-point metal and this very defensive position here. And with rAndy's position of this solar, what it's going to do is block anything pathing around, getting in here and killing this 5. And you can see both players are going to be kind of shoring up that defensive area here in order to make sure that nothing can get round. InDaClub, not quite so much. Stuff can still get through there, but kind of trying to limit any kind of movement into that point. We'll see here, this is exactly what InDaClub attempts with this scout. I will notice that he will not be able to accomplish that at all. rAndy actually moving around to try and block even more with extra solars here to block for the winds. Winds being very low speed at the moment as well, meaning both players are having to invest more metal into solars, which is going to limit what they're able to build for quite a while, as this is quite a lot of metal to shove into something at this early stage. But it does mean that they're going to be able to reclaim these at a later date, and like I mentioned, they work as a defensive feature as well. Now back to the map. Either side, both players have a Geo. And then 2 mexes either side, and then 2 very far flanking mexes. Now, this map does entail quite a wide area of play, and what we often see is flanking attacks from the players as they go down the sides here rather than push the middle, either moving their commander into the middle and fortifying here. But realistically, the choke point tends to be around there, and then players position themselves like this, and vice versa. Getting a bit of a mess. Let me redraw that. The defensive lines tend to be like that, and then the middle is kind of a bit of a no man's land. That is the norm. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to happen on this game, so let's see how both players are doing. Currently, InDaClub going for vehicles here. It's going to mean the metal income is a much higher priority for him over energy. And we'll see if he's able to scale out well enough. Now, his opponent has already expanded to these and has moved on already around about here with his constructor. So a little bit behind InDaClub, but saying that, InDaClub does have these 2 metal extractors here towards the middle. So he's kind of ahead when it comes to metal production at the moment. However, that can change very quickly. Now, one advantage that InDaClub is going to have here by going vehicles is the movement speed. It's going to be relatively easy for him to be able to intercept roaming threats due to the speed of blitzes. Slight mistake here, though, is InDaClub not really paying attention enough. He could have moved this blitz to intercept this guy and not have to lose an LLT. But focusing more on his commander and this fight off to the side. Blitz surprisingly losing out to a pawn there. Now, realistically, blitzes should win 1v1 against the pawn, and we can see that that was what was about to happen there, as this blitz was extremely, well, it was about 1/3 damaged, and almost killed the pawn. And InDaClub pushing very, very far forward. Another thing of note is, if you're new to bar again, radar is line of sight based. And if we select this radar in the middle, you can see this section here. There is no radar as well as here. But this radar is a tremendous position to give InDaClub full line of sight on what's going on and what's coming his way. I'm surprised that rAndy has been so willing to give up this middle terrain. He is investing more on the long game, though, by the looks of it. Building construction turrets, building more manpower, just applying a bit of pressure here and there. No build power actually been built, well, as in construction turrets built yet from InDaClub, focusing more on construction vehicles. However, surprising enough, he's not really spreading out at all with them. And you can see the size of the map here, giving a huge amount of terrain away. All of this area on the left-hand side not covered by radar. InDaClub is not aware of these guys whatsoever. And that is quite a lot of pawns to push through, both on the left and right. And all of InDaClub's forces are actually down attacking rAndy at the moment. rAndy's forces in the top left and right hand side here being stationary. Now, what's going to happen here? This technically is enough to kill a commander if microed correctly and spread out. However, it looks like it's not about to be spread out well enough, and it gets flanked by the pawns running in from below. And hear the incessant clicking of InDaClub as he tries to micro his forces away and does manage it successfully. Now, what can InDaClub see? So he's aware of the forces off to the right. Instead of sending forces there to deal with it, he's currently happy to just wait. He's not aware of this force group onto the left. Now, there is a few locations where radar can be built in this area. For example, I think one can probably fit there. And over here as well. Definitely there. And here comes the pincer attack on the base. Now, InDaClub has pushed up really far, which is very surprising. LLT is now going up in the aim to defend the position. He's only just been made aware of these guys, though, and a single LLT is probably not going to be enough to defend. A very well-timed self-destruct on this LLT, though, would do tremendous work. However, did not time it right. And the pawns unable to accomplish anything, which now frees up a tremendous amount of room. And that was a self-destructed LLT and another one there. When timed correctly, LLTs, standing for light laser towers, explode with a larger detonation range and can be used very effectively at dealing with early raider units. And InDaClub kind of only having pawns to deal with right now. This is a very ballsy move for him to build just a wall of LLTs like this. Some rocket bots coming out, and they're just going to be used to slowly whittle down these LLTs as rocket bots completely outrange. Now, another blitz push on rAndy here. And there you go again, another LLT self-destruct, taking out 3 blitzes with it. Tremendous amount of value from that one LLT there. But a big problem that InDaClub is having at the moment is his lack of expansion. He had construction vehicles free, and yet he's not pushed to these at all. It's a bit of a waste. You can see InDaClub now slowly getting these 3 rocket bots, destroying all of his hard work. And walls actually being built here by rAndy. Very rarely do you see walls being built, but this will do great work at stopping these blitzes from being able to inflict any form of damage. And they're all getting destroyed now as well. InDaClub now being forced back by these rocket bots. And the commander is going to have to make a slow walk back. Meanwhile, forces have made a breakthrough in the middle. Not really too much to write home about. And that force manages to get wiped out. Meanwhile, in the middle, these few LLTs are slowly getting whittled away. And again, the problem of controlling your expansions. Both players getting harassed in their expansions, especially rAndy on this bottom left side. Now going for cloaking mexes. Both players do have that option available to them. And will definitely stall any sorts of raids as they get hit by the EMP damage when the metal extractor explodes. But both players quite struggling right now. rAndy getting a lot of reclaim, which is helping. That's why his numbers fluctuating so rapidly. InDaClub doing a good amount of aggro though at the front, managing to take out both metal extractors. Construction vehicle loss though maybe from InDaClub. Yep. Oh, 4% health. Manages to just get away as rAndy's attention is elsewhere. And rAndy now just able to slowly deal with this kind of LLT wall. It has slowed rAndy down. It did force him to invest in rocket bots. But it is kind of giving him a bunch of metal. Not a lot, but enough. And I wouldn't say right now InDaClub has really made the most of that. And we can see when it comes to metal extractor count on this bottom side, we have 8 normal metal extractors built and 2 cloakies, as opposed to the about to be 9 metal extractors from InDaClub. So in theory, InDaClub is about to overtake rAndy when it comes to metal extractors. We see both players here mirroring the move. But rAndy's choice of bots here is going to enable him to be able to build more quantity of units than his opponent, which is going to make it more difficult for InDaClub to spread his forces. Now a desperate attempt to try and save this construction vehicle as the blitzes try and come in and take out these pawns. Managing to do it with body blocking with the blitzes, and that construction vehicle had 60 health left, 64 health left in the end. A very fortunate luck. Accidental double metal extractor back here. Some defenses around this area would be ideal, really. Now InDaClub's commander about to get surrounded by 10 pawns here with another more coming on its way. Little does rAndy know that the commander is there with 2 LLTs built and a third one now just finished. It's going to be a little bit harder to push that position with just pawns. Again though, we see even more flanking attacks happening with about 30 pawns moving down on that left-hand side. And when it comes to units, InDaClub has transitioned over to air entirely. So all he has is these 18 blitzes. That's it. Going in for the attack now with 10 gunships, making that 11 gunships. Does it look like he's just going to try and snipe the commander? Yes, he was attempting to, but without radar, it makes it impossible for him to actually see the commander. Instead, pushing right over for the base. Plenty of air defense already built, though, as one of these ferrets are extremely difficult to deal with. Focusing down the construction turrets here to reduce build power. But fighters now also being built. And to be fair, this is the first major base damage dealt by either player. But with that, leaving InDaClub with 0 army leaves him in a very, very precarious position. Right now, this force of 20 pawns on the left-hand side could push in and finish this match. However, rAndy is not aware of that. Oh, as I say that. Oh, no, he's actually pulling back. I'm guessing in rAndy's idea, there must be some sort of, well, plan, or what's the word? Follow-up, which there isn't at the moment. This radar does go up, though, giving InDaClub vision of this force moving in from the side. Again, no defenses really to speak of in the base here. And this pawns need to rapidly move to the other side, which they are now doing. Army value, though, 57% advantage to rAndy. When we look at metal produced, though, there is only 1k metal difference between the two players, and 1k really is nothing. Also, at the same time, we've had this radar here of InDaClub's just still left alive, providing somewhat decent vision over this corner. He's aware that this is built up with some form of defenses as well. And it's not great, but it will give maybe vision of stuff coming this flank. Moving into a defensive posture with his pawns. InDaClub fully switched over to bots now, just because he needs the units out as quick as possible. And rAndy did lose quite a lot of energy production. Bear in mind that everything was blue. The fact that energy is now red shows that rAndy here kind of just taken a second to stop and rebuild his energy infrastructure. One thing that probably saved him here is the 4 energy storages that he had backed up, ready to go. And we are seeing kind of a shift to a more energy storage focused plan these days. Because if, you know, things like we just saw happened, it could be huge. Also, if you have enough energy stored and then the wind drops, straight away you're like, boom, I've got like 26k energy stored. I can just pump out, you know, as many fighters as I want. Almost, well, not 10 fighters, but still, you get the idea. Meanwhile, a surprise move here from InDaClub. Transitioning over to Tech 2. Well then, that's not what I expected to happen, but if this plays well, it could give him the kind of edge that he needs right now. rAndy's playing it very, very safe. And with that, giving plenty of opportunity for InDaClub to just equal up and go to Tech 2. Meanwhile, we can see rAndy here investing more and more onto air defense, with a chainsaw being built using 7,300 energy and 750 metal. It's a lot to be invested into air defense, as well as these pop-up ferrets. He must have the inkling and, well, inkling of the there's going to be a bombing run coming on these windmills. However, that's why he's still building fighters, but his opponent is just completely not even caring about that anymore. And pawns have very little when it comes to anything dealing with air. A basic nettle has been built, which will kind of push these few gunships off at least, but not really much to write home about. And now stouts are starting to make their way down the middle. Jaguars will do pretty good against pawns. But the Beamer's not really able to hold off at all. Oh, InDaClub's commander here in a position he was not expecting to be in. Question is now, is rAndy going to push to kill the commander? He has enough forces. He could do it. Both gunships now destroyed. Jack was a great choice, really, when you think about it. Good at dealing with pawns, good at dealing with air. We can see both these two Jaguars getting a tremendous amount of value when killing all of these pawns. Not doing as well, though, versus the Stouts. But not losing any of his Tech 2. Now, with going Tech 2, do we see a Tech 2 transition from rAndy? We may be about to, as we see the reclaim of the bot lab planned here and started. Meaning that rAndy is trying to just get a bunch more metal. Enough fighters around as well. Meanwhile, this force over here on the left just going to clear up that side metal extractors. This force on the right, again, just blocking more. But look at this swarm in the middle. Huge amount of pawns here from InDaClub, just kind of trying to deal with some. Not really microed, though. And these forces could do a lot more if they were to actually focus on killing that Beamer. But instead, just continuing to rush down versus Stouts. And they're not really going to get anywhere. And a little bit late there, InDaClub deciding to turn around and run. But now he's just running back into that exact same Beamer. Which is going to kill probably most of those pawns that are left. And yeah. Bit of a silly mistake there. He probably wasn't paying attention. Too much going on at one time. Which is fair enough. We do see consoles out, though, here to get the huge quantity of Reclaim. Beamers also make relatively short work here against the against the Jaguars, rather. Having more range than the Jags. Now having to run for their lives as there is a far superior quantity of Stouts there. Now, if there is a transition over to Bulls rather than the Jags, that will be when rAndy starts having issues. But at the moment, only Jaguars planned. And as we switch over to rAndy's base, it seems like the metal that was absorbed from eating of the bot lab has not really been put into Tech 2 at all. And instead, it's been put into energy converters and bombers. Now, with 10 bombers primed and raring to go, they are going to have to fly, directly over the middle. There is radar there. The Jags aren't really going to be able to get in position in time. And very little air defense has been built just yet. And here goes a very, very dangerous bombing run. The bombs were spread out quite a bit here. Is it enough, though? Losing a good group of wins. The wins were spread out quite well. Energy converters getting blown up. And the Jaguars doing a tremendous job there at dealing with the bombers, leaving only a single bomber left. Now that has hurt InDaClub tremendously, losing most of his wind production. Probably equal to that of the damage that he dealt to rAndy at the beginning of the match. Well, I say beginning of the match, midpoint of the match. Consoles, though, are desperately just trying to eat up any crystals that he sees, but a lot of it's gone now. And this is not looking good. The Tech 2 transition from InDaClub has given him better units, but they are going to struggle now against just a far superior number of Tech 1. And we can see Jaguars dying left and right here, not really able to accomplish anything. And now InDaClub desperately needs energy production. Problem being is that you can't really build a fusion because that's going to require a lot of energy. Now, if he had as much energy storage as his opponent, he had, what, 4 energy storages? He would have had more energy to kind of live off whilst doing this. But obviously he doesn't have that. And now he's going to run into problems where he needs energy to build the fusion, but doesn't have the energy. He's obviously still trying to build Jaguars, which are 6,400 energy, and he needs the Jaguars. Because he's losing ground constantly at the moment here. He's almost got to being stable. You can see he's very close to being no energy. There we go. As the wind drops down, basically 0 energy now is massive, massive shortfall on energy. Choosing to take the left fight into club rather than the force in the middle. Now having to run back as a huge tank force just pushes straight through the middle. Going to be able to kill a Tech 2 construction vehicle here. And as they approach the base, Randy decides it's not worth the risk right now and starts backing off. Janice's just getting completely annihilated by the Jags. And the Jags are actually doing fairly well versus all these stouts. And also now with bulls on the field, a single bull, that's going to be able to do some tremendous work. Quickly looking back onto Randy's base though, still no Tech 2 at all. Continuing to scale with Tech 1, and we can just see that even with Tech 2, the economy is fairly even. Metal produced is currently neck and neck. There is a lot of resurrection available. 2.4k metal right there. And Tech 2 was definitely the right choice for InDaClub. It's just got to hold on for that scaling. If he can scale up, he can still win this one. It's looking a bit risky though still. He needs to be able to control this reclaim field permanently to stop his opponent just getting it, but the superior numbers for Randy just causing more and more problems for InDaClub as another force comes around to flank. Fusion had got built, but this is looking a bit risky. These bulls now definitely pulling their weight as they stand their ground against the stouts. And surely now with bulls out, Randy is going to have to consider going to Tech 2. Another 1k metal there. That one's definitely going to be in InDaClub's favor. But this kind of area here is still being pretty easily controlled by Randy. Every time he sends units round InDaClub, they get killed. Chasing down the res ball blob now, though, with these Jaguars. Take a bit more time to recoup them. Maybe going for a self-destruct here on this EMP mechs to kind of catch them off guard, and they do. And that's going to save the resbots that are left, as well as get these 4 Jaguars killed. So what this spectator is saying is that 2.5k metal has been invested into all of the defenses here so far. Yep, 2.5k metal. Which is quite a lot, considering they're basically metal produced like equal with InDaClub finally making a bit of headway now with Tech 2. Now this force here, we'll see how much damage they're able to inflict. Randy's comm making a bit of a risky move. The Jaguars may get killed by just the LLT on its own. Or, yes. Now, if that had been spotted, this would have been a completely different situation. But all 3 bulls now get taken out by the D-guns. But quite a lot of damage there. The 0.5 metal extractor as well as a bunch of winds destroyed. This is still anyone's game right now. But it is slowly turning in InDaClub's favor. The longer that Randy stays Tech 1, the longer the advantage is moving to InDaClub's favor. And we finally see a Tech 2 vehicle factory coming out from Randy. As he uses air constructors here to try and get the reclaim in the middle. Luckily, those Jaguars are still in the mix, able to deal with air for InDaClub. It's interesting to see that InDaClub is not amassing any form of army here. He's using the army he's got to just instantly harass. Considering he was kind of at an army deficit for quite a while, we can see that he's now at a very strong advantage. And these bulls just making headway into that defensive structures on the right, kind of freeing up now a raiding avenue. And the amount of time that InDaClub has had Tech 2 is very much showing when we look at the amount of Tech 2 metal extractors on the map. Over here we've got 2, 4, 6, 7, and only the 1 from Randy. Now he is pushing out this guy to quickly turn the tide of that, but it may be too late. We zoom in on this fight here. Andy only building bulls. Actually, if we shift M here. Yep. Bulls only. Whereas his opponent is building scouts. At the moment, Jaguars and construction guys, which is interesting. Scouts coming over. What does InDaClub manage to see? Now, this is important because this is going to give him information as to where to raid. The fact that he knows that there's a bunch of like metal extractors, well, not metal extractors, wind and metal converters, energy converters on the flanks rather than just the base. This gives him so much more avenue to attack. And we'll probably see him now, yeah, see, trying to split off his forces to attack different areas rather than pushing the main base. But InDaClub actually just pushing main base here. Randy, with not enough forces to really defend that late Tech 2 transition, has really cost him as the Tech 2 factory gets destroyed. So does the bot lab. And now InDaClub just free to kind of roam around. These forces are heading directly into the commander, though. And a tremendous D-gun from Andy manages to get pretty much the entire force of InDaClub. Tremendous work now. The commander with 13 kills. And what would have been GG for Randy turned around by a single D-gun. And that is just tremendous work there from Randy. Tremendous, tremendous work. Resbots are here on the case right away, resurrecting the units needed to defend. Now he's trying to make sure he doesn't accidentally reclaim the vehicle lab here with the construction bot. Surprising that they're prioritizing. Oh, but there we go. The vehicle lab gets eaten anyway, which is not great because you could kind of do with the units, but rAndy right now getting dangerously close to having way too much metal and start overflowing. And now InDaClub able to just inflict damage across a wide area. rAndy doesn't really have the units to stop that. Cloaky Mexes will make it harder though, as most of these forces get EMP'd. A couple do manage to get by though, and this is going to be a huge energy loss. Why is this guy not attacking? Why are these set to return fire? No, InDaClub! They're set to return fire! This could have been a substantial amount worse. But luckily for rAndy here, these Jaguars were set to return fire. And what that meant is this windmill farm here survived. Very, very, very lucky for rAndy. That could have been a lot more damage inflicted as well as these if they wouldn't have just walked in and stopped. But what do we see here? InDaClub going all in and going into experimental gantry. Tech 2 isn't enough for him. He needs that T3. He needs that big damage. Question is, what unit is he going to choose? Marauders. Now, I personally am not really a fan of Marauders, but in this situation, it definitely is the right choice. Razorbacks, not really useful for killing bulls. Vanguard, not really useful in this situation. And Marauders are only 970 metal. You can literally build 3 Marauders for the cost of a single Razorback. Actually, 4 Marauders for the cost of a single Razorback. So, yeah, we're about to see a lot of Marauders. And rAndy is desperately trying to build bulls here to defend. Well, this is a very interesting position for this radar here, which will last all of 2 seconds. And there goes a console as well. And here we go. Marauders start to roll off the assembly line. As rAndy's bulls creep closer and closer. How quickly is he managing to get these? About every 8 seconds? Oh, he had a bit of a stall there, but it was about every 8 seconds. "11 seconds. Now, what InDaClub is currently doing, though, is he is withholding these Marauders. He doesn't want his opponent to know about them, which is why he's not using them in this defense here. Now, that has changed, as he is now instantly aware that these Marauders exist, as they are pushing straight down the middle. This is one of the reasons I don't like Marauders, is they're even outranged by bulls. And we can see that one of these Marauders is almost dead before it's even reached the front line. Question is, how much damage are these guys going to be able to deal? There is a lot of bulls there, and not enough Marauders. Just see how quickly that Marauder's dying. One of them's dead. One of them's actually stuck. And he needs a lot more of them. Danger zone time, though, as 4 of these bulls have managed to make it round the back. And he needs to rush some Marauders around there to deal with it. This is going to be a very big boom if this goes off. with a energy converter right next to it. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, but the advanced Geo does stay alive. And actually doing a smart move here of rather than attacking the base head on, Marauders actually choosing to go for a bit of a flank attack, get rid of some of this Tech 2, as well as a bunch of wins. Starlights are going to work very well versus these Marauders. And now we also hear Bombers up and running as well. Tech 1. See, this is the only problem I have with Marauders, is they're not really that effective. They're very, very weak. Kind of feel like the same build power of Bulls may have been more efficient. As we see Marauders pushing in here on the left, Marauders are actually running away on the right. And the Starlights just insta-pop these Marauders. They're trying to get in, trying to do some damage here, but plenty of Starlights are up. They have managed to make it around the Starlights. But now the question is how much damage can these guys do now that they're around the back? There's not really much here anymore, to be honest with you. But it will be enough to get in behind all of these tall things where the Starlights can't actually shoot them. Getting behind the Tech 2 factory, behind this chainsaw, things like that, was going to limit what is going to be able to be shot. And as he tries to run away with these guys that are left. Oh, the bombing run, though. It's going to get the advanced Geo. And the Bulls on the right just pressuring. They're not even like fully going in here, but just look how much Marauders have died. But this is probably game InDaClub at this point. That guy's not going to accomplish anything. This one guy just managing to get the flanks that are left, but InDaClub has amassed enough Marauders here that it's going to be pretty much impossible for rAndy to bring this back. He's also being smart with his position of Marauders to not get hit by things. And his commander now in the middle. Is he going to go for the D-gun? Gets one on the D-gun, two with the D-gun. Friendly fire from the Starlight. Is it enough to keep him alive? Second bot tier 2 vehicle lab was built. And rAndy here with 26% health. And that is extremely lucky. But realistically, rAndy kind of just biding time at this point. He is trying to rush out Resbots here. There are a lot of Marauder Rex left lying around. And a slight problem here as these guys are chasing after a Marauder that's already rezzed when he desperately just needs more of them up and running. InDaClub taking his time here, clearing out all of the expansions of rAndy, trying to starve his opponent out rather than just, you know, go for the final finishing. Killing another Tech 2 metal extractor, but realistically, what? One Tech 2 metal extractor for 3 Was that 4 Marauder X? 3 Marauder X. Wasn't a decisive push. Those 2 bombers just doing pretty well, to be honest with you. Meanwhile, economy numbers. Wow, I've not even looked at economy numbers in ages. Economy numbers are very, very red. That's probably about as much as you need. And surprisingly, we actually see a Tech 2 air factory from InDaClub here. And a complete reclaim of Tech 3? What's the other spectator? Oh, that's a mistake. The resbots were clearly set on just area resurrect, and they've just resurrected the vehicle lab behind. Yeah, Umovator's basically pointing out here there's a huge amount of AA that is built, and his opponent is going air, although with liches being what's being built here, I don't think that air defense is really going to matter. But question is how much can Randy do right now? He still has this advanced geo, and that's pretty much powering his entire economy now. Build power is extremely lacking. He needs more energy production, probably. Start scaling. He's currently fine, but he's not going to be able to scale up as much. Meanwhile, we have 20 Marauders on the field. 15 of those are made by InDaClub. More e-storage. Yeah, maybe. Currently, though, he needs the energy, because you can see here with Andy selected, losing energy very quickly. And as we attempt to go for another fusion, surprisingly, he's not reclaiming this Tech 2 factory. Building up a bit of a fighter screen here to act as decoys for the AA. 2 liches been prepared so far, as well as some scout planes. And a huge Tech 2 wall being built. Little does he know that the Marauders, I'm pretty sure, can just walk straight through that. And InDaClub amassing his final assault. As the fighters go in, so do the scouts. Bombers very close behind. And what are they targeting? The commander. And his commander with 9%. And the Lich gets the kill. Tremendous work, InDaClub. It honestly looked like InDaClub was going to lose it in the mid-game, but managing to pull it back. The timed transition to Tech 2 and Randy's kind of, I don't know, hesitation to go to Tech 2 really kind of won InDaClub the game there. When we look at stats here, we can see ahead on metal the entire, pretty much half the game Randy was. And then you can see about here is the spike when the Tech 2 happened. And you can see how the graph just went from being pretty close to overtaking very quickly. Energy produced, though. That was metal produced, wasn't it? No, it was metal used. But still, energy produced. You can see the Tech 2 timing here as well by just looking at how vertical that line goes. And yeah, great job by InDaClub. Managing to pull out a tremendous win versus Randy. Thank you all for watching this one. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.